Okay, Haters Mega here. It's the next day after. In the last video, I got the new bracket made. We made the new bracket and the upper bracket because the other one was cracking, and I wanted to push the controller in a little bit more so we can get a little more space. So we'll find out how well that works out. It's on there. It's really solid. I don't think it's going anywhere. So what we got going on today is I gotta finish this. So there's a couple more. There's like 2 more things we have to do, or actually like 3 more things we have to do before this. This is like, you know, fully mission capable is what I'm gonna say. That's what they call it in the Army when there's no faults or anything, you know. So one thing we gotta do is what's with all this black stuff here already? All I did was take it for a spin around the block. So in the last video, I had taken the bike for a spin around the block late at night. It was probably like 60 degrees. It was pretty cool. And what I noted is like, hey, the controller still gets warm, but the heatsink doesn't get warm. Actually, the heatsink does get warm. It's like this will be like the warmest when you feel it, and then it'll be, you know, a little bit warm, and then it'll be like cold if you put your finger down here, because it's obviously it's not touching there. But the heat should radiate or should like transfer all the way through the whole heatsink. Okay. So I'm thinking like once we put the thermal grease in there, it'll work a lot better, you know. And we really gotta put this controller through the test again. We gotta really heat it up again. And there's really not too many situations where we can do that, save for like doing like a lot of hill climbs. So what we'll probably do is we'll take it to Sierra Road and we'll do some hill climb runs. Hopefully we can get 2 in before the battery runs low. What I might want to do is take another battery with me. So I can make it home. I don't know if we'll be able to do two passes up Sierra Road. But anyway, so what I got going on today is we're going to try to finish this. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure this. Okay, we're going to measure this section that's right underneath the controller, and then we're gonna find out the distance that bisects it, basically in half. You know, divide it in 2. Draw a line here. Take the heatsink off and chop it. We're going to chop it, and there's going to be an extra piece sticking out. So what I think is going to be, it's going to wind up being like right around here, okay? What we might be able to do is drill a hole in one of the fins here, and make another bracket that goes to the controller bracket right here, the old controller bracket, and then we could run it inside this one here. I think so. I think that might actually work pretty good. But we'd have to, I'm pretty sure we'd have to notch this. Yeah, we'd have to notch this. We'd have to cut this little lip off here, and then drill a hole here, and then run it over here. Also, another thing we might have to do, we'll find out when we cut the heatsink, is if we're going to use that portion that's here, and we're going to basically flip it over is what we're going to do. We're going to flip it over, and we're going to bolt it to the bottom right here, okay? And so there'll be a second heatsink coming out the bottom. So that way we can make use of all this extra space underneath the controller. So the X controller pretty much takes up all of this space right here, okay? The BAC2000 I think is about this long, by the way. I think the 4000 goes up to here. But yeah, the old controller goes all the way down here. So to make use of some of that space, we're gonna lop this off and then flip it around and put it on the back, okay? And we're gonna bolt it on. We're gonna smear a bunch of. We're gonna clean it really well, and maybe I might try to polish it so there's a good contact patches. And then we'll smear a bunch of heatsink compound on it, and then we'll bolt it together, and then that'll be the whole heatsink unit right there, okay? I was thinking about shaving these tabs, but I was like, man, you know what? They do act as like a heatsink, so I would just keep them, you know? So we're gonna wind up keeping these. Also, so for the final install, we're gonna put thermal grease on everything, but for now we're gonna run it dry. Okay, save for like the part that we're gonna flip around here. That being because I want to do a test. I want to do a test run later. We're gonna take it up Sierra, run it without the heatsink, and then we're gonna go back down, and then we're gonna install the heatsink right after when we get to the bottom, because it's only like 4 screws. It's not that hard to install. I'll bring the tools. I'll bring the heatsink with me. We'll put it in a backpack, but we'll keep it dry because I don't want to have to take this off again. Like once it's on there and the heatsink compound is on there, I don't want to take it off anymore because if it gets any kind of dirt on the heatsink compound, it's gonna be a pain in the ass to get out. So that's what I say. All right, so like once the compound is on there, it's not coming out anymore. Is what I want to say. All right. Okay. So and then we have to put it back on the trailer and strap it down, and then we got to see how much clearance there is from the fender to the heatsink, because really the fender is really the only thing that that's going to hit the controller if we compress the suspension hole. I found out the tire doesn't even come close, so I'm not even going to worry about the tire, but the fender does. So we'll find out how much we need to cut off of the fins so this doesn't contact. We might be able to get away. We might be able to get away with just cutting the center fins out, so we don't have to cut it all the way, or we can cut the fins halfway. You know, halfway sounds good. I would do halfway. But we have to put it on the trailer, and we have to find out, what the clearance is again. So we'll strap it down on the trailer and compress the suspension all the way. All right, so I think that's what I got for today. Chop it, and then put it on the trailer, and then find out how much distance there is when the compression is compressed all the way, to make sure like this doesn't hit this. Okay, when we hit full compression. Because honestly, I would run it like this, but hey, it's a dirt bike, there's going to be rocks and stuff coming up under here and all that crazy stuff, so we don't want too much stuff hanging off of the bike is what I'm saying. Alright, here we go. Okay, so let's go take some measurements here. So what I'm going to do is measure the distance from the bottom of this heatsink to the bottom of the bracket here for the controller. Okay. Looks like it's about 121 millimeters. Yep, 121 millimeters. Kind of a weird size. Alright. 121 millimeters. That's what we got. Okay, so we got 121 millimeters. If you divide that by 2, that's 60 and a half. So I'm going to try to mark off 60 and a half millimeters. So the interesting thing is, this does half millimeters. But, that's okay, we'll do 60 and a half. So 121, yeah. Okay, so here, we'll find 60 and a half. Probably just we'll do like around 16, or I could do halfway. Okay, that's 60 and a half right there, alright. So I've gone and marked it. Alright, so that's where we got to cut to make it in a half. So chances are when we cut it, we're going to be shaving off like a millimeter off of it anyway, so it's probably going to wind up being 60 because we're going to lose some material when we cut it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the heatsink. Basically, it's just take out these four screws here. Heatsink comes off, and then we're going to start cutting it, okay? Alright, here's me out. Okay, so I got the heatsink off. It's kind of a bitch to take on and off, especially trying to keep it from falling, but that's okay. Alright, so what I did is I got this triangle square thing, and then I drew a straight line across the heatsink right here. I made sure it was 60 millimeters. I went and measured it again from the base, and it was about 60 and a half, so that's where we want. So basically, I just got to make this black line disappear and try to cut it as straight as possible because we're going to reuse this part. So yeah, okay, here we go. Let's start cutting it. I think I'm going to use Mr. Sawzall for this. All right. Okay, Okay, Heatsink here. I put the heatsink on the vise. I made sure and put some cardboard between both sides so we don't we don't mar up the mounting surface here and the other side. So and then we're just gonna go to town with it on the sawzall. Hopefully I can get a straight cut. All right. Okay, there we go. So here's the part that we cut off. All right, and then there's the rest of the heatsink right there. So this is how much we just shortened it. It was hard to cut this thing. I'm not gonna lie, dude. The sawzall I was having trouble, man. It's just kind of a weird thing to cut, You could feel the sawzall. It's coming down. It's coming down, and then it'll hit one of these heat sinks, and then it'll like kind of hang up. It'll get caught there for a while, and it's sawing, and then you'll know when you get past one of the fins because it just goes straight down like a hot knife through butter, and then it'll hit the next fin, So it is tough having to cut through this thing. I hope I don't have to do it again. I did kind of mess up the surface a bit. It's kind of dented quite a bit, but I think that's okay. We'll just resurface it as good as we can. We'll put the compound on there. The other one got messed up pretty bad too. But this isn't the part that touches the heatsink, the heatsink on the controller anyway, so that's okay. Ideally, I think what would have worked the best is probably a saw, like a chop saw or something, or just like a regular, like a circular saw that has like a disc for cutting like metal and stuff, for aluminum. I bet you could probably use one of the wooden ones or those kind of combo ones. I was thinking of trying it, but I'm like, it's okay. But yeah, I think a saw would have been the better. This guy, the electric cutoff wheel, I don't think would have worked because it's too thick. Yeah, it's way too thick, man. Look at this. You'd only get that far. You'd only get that far, and then you wouldn't be cutting the whole fin off. So I think the sawzall was good. It's just not ideal cut, So now I'm gonna go clean up the rest of all these burrs and stuff. For the most part, I cut it pretty straight. I did a good job keeping it straight. This thing wanted to move and buck all the time, and I wouldn't let it. And then actually my saw ran out of power too, so I'm charging the battery right now. I had to go grab another battery that was in my vacuum cleaner. And then all this stuff on my table started falling off. So hopefully I didn't damage the main heatsink. I had it clamped on there pretty tight. Yeah, no, it looks like there's no damage at all. So. But it did move a whole lot, fortunately. But yeah, okay. So I'm gonna go clean up these cuts here with the Dremel tool, and then we'll start on what we're probably gonna do is drill 4 holes. We'll drill one here, one here, one here, and one here. There's kind of like a big gap between the 3 sets of. There's 3 sets of fins, and there's like 4 fins. So between the there's kind of like an open gap that divides it into 3s. So there's 12 fins. So we're gonna drill a hole here, 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 and here. Okay. And then we'll probably just mate it up to this, and then we'll poke some dimples in there. We'll mark it with some dimples, and then drill into this, and then we'll bolt this on, and then hopefully it'll fit with the controller. If not, we're just gonna have to shave it until it will. Okay, but basically, the way it's gonna go on is like that. Not bad. Pretty good. Pretty straight cut. It's gonna be like that. That's what I'm trying to build right there. Okay. All right. Okay, he's making here. I've been cleaning this up for like half an hour now. Man, this thing makes a big mess when you cut it. Yeah, at least with the Sawzall. So I wound up using this bit here, this kind of diamond bit, and then this cartridge roll dealy. I like to use these cartridge rolls because I have a whole bunch of them. I'm trying to use them all up. They don't last very long though, unfortunately. But so that's what it looks like now. Much cleaner than it was before. There's a lot less burrs hanging off of it. So I'm gonna go run the. So here's the other one. Here's the main one. Okay. So I'm gonna run the. What is the? This guy. The resurfacing the Scotch-Brite disc on it. Over the part that we kind of messed up with the freaking Sawzall. Yeah, what I should have done is I should have just let the Sawzall float instead of like trying to brace it with the with this guy here. I should have just let it float is what I should have done. Like it wasn't, the blade is pretty long compared to the fin, so that's what I should have done. I should have just let it float instead of, it really messed it up pretty good, but it's okay. We're gonna put thermal compound on it anyway. So, but yeah, I'm gonna try to resurface it again, and then we'll run the resurfacer right through here. It looks pretty good though. It's not too bad. It doesn't have to look all bling bling. All right, so I'm gonna go run this guy next. Here's me up. Okay, so I'm starting to run the resurfacing disc on this. So you can see I did this half right here and not this half. So you can see it makes a big difference. Yeah, big difference. So I didn't think, yeah, I don't think that's gonna, see, yeah, I don't even feel it anymore. So it really does work. It smoothens it out. And then I'm finished with this one, so you can see how that turned out. Pretty good. It's a little bling bling now. It's still a little kind of messed up looking, but that's okay. We'll probably wind up putting this part. No, you know what? I might. Yeah, we'll just put the two parts together, kind of like that, instead of like this, the nice part. We'll put the messed up parts together and the nice parts together, so that way it'll made up better. Okay, but anyway, that's the kind of what the finished product looks like when I'm done cleaning, deburring it and everything. So it's pretty good. You can still make out where the scratches and stuff are that the Sawzall made with the little support thingy, but that's okay. Definitely, it looks like a homemade homemade piece. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna go finish this off. All right, here's me go. Okay, so what I've gone and done is I've punched dimples into the heatsink here. So there's 6 of them. I decided to go with 6 instead of 3, so we get a good contact through everything. It's actually the heatsink actually bowing through the center anyway. So if we clamp the center down, that's good. That means we're flattening it out, so that's good. All right, so that's where I'm gonna drill it. I'm gonna use the same screws that we used for the controller to mount it on the controller. These ones are a little bit shorter, I think, but it's pretty much the same one, same size, same. For whatever reason, man, in my toolbox, my dad's toolbox, there's a bunch of these freaking screws all over the place, and I would really like to just use them, so they're not just sitting around all the time, you know. Yeah, they've been in there for like more than a decade, so I like to use them. So I got 6 of those out with 6 locking nuts. All right, and then we're going to use that 1/8 drill bit to drill each of those holes. So I didn't measure anything. I just kind of looked at it and I punched it with this guy. Okay, and then we're going to use this as a template to drill the holes into the main heatsink right here. Okay, all right, let's make out. Okay, let's go drill this. So I put on top of the vise. I've put we don't even need the vise now I think about it. On top of the vise, I put a piece of cardboard so we don't scratch up the surface, because that's, you know, it's got to be clean. We should have punched it from the other side, but so you won't be able to see the heat sinks from the other side, so it's better this way. So, all right. Okay, I've drilled the 6 holes. There we go. And then we'll go clean out all this stuff, this mess here, so it mounts flat. And then we'll go start marking the other heatsink. Okay, Heatsink here. I've kind of got the 2 heat sinks mated up, and it looks like I cut it a little crooked because I can see there's a little piece sticking out here. At least I think. What I should do is probably put it on a flat surface. Let's put it on a flat surface. Yep, that's flat. so yeah, there's a little part sticking out here. So what I did is I got a pen, I got a permanent marker, and I kind of scribed it, and I'm gonna go grind that edge off. So it's a little sharp. So I don't know, for whatever reason the other side mates up pretty good. So okay, I went and grinded it just a little bit. It's still sticking out just a tad, but that's fine. Whatever. It's not very noticeable anymore. It's the important part. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna punch holes in. We're gonna punch indentations. These are I don't know what these are. These are punches. They're punches. They're so it's a punch that's the same size as the hole. So like when you stick it in there, it's completely centered. So basically, we're gonna stick it in there, and I'm gonna hit it with the hammer, and it's gonna dimple or mark where to drill the holes. Okay. So I'll probably get a clamp and clamp this down, and then we'll hit it. So there's our little clamping apparatus there. So we're gonna go dimple this. Okay. Now I'm just gonna keep it on. I'm gonna put it on my lap, and I'm gonna hit it with the hammer. All right. Okay, so as you saw, I punched the thingy. Hopefully they're all in line. For whatever reason, this one looks like it's off. I hope the heatsink didn't move. It doesn't look like it. This was clamped pretty tight. Alright, so I'm going to go take this off, and then we'll take a look at the dimples. But it looks good. I can see all the dimples through the hole, so that's good enough. If we have to make the hole a little bit bigger, then that's okay. Heatsink is really happy because he gets to use these tools that he bought from Horror Freight that he doesn't really use too often. Okay. There we go. Hopefully I didn't damage any of the surface. It's already pretty damaged already, unfortunately. So those are the dimples. Here, 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 and here, and here. So I haven't really used those punches in a while because I haven't had to really drill any holes in anything, but that helps you center the punch like in a specific hole, so you get a precise, dimple where you're going to drill. All right, so let's go drill this. We got the drill all set up. Since we drilled it on this side, I don't think I really need to use, well, we can put one. It's okay. Okay, there we go. So I still need to clean that up a bit, but there's the holes. Hopefully they line up. Probably gonna have to clean up the inside here. The good thing about drilling from this side, the mounting surface, to the other side where the fins are, is that all the burrs are on the other side. Okay. I'm just gonna clean that up with the drum. Hey YouTube, so it's like almost nightfall, so I don't think we're gonna go finish this up tonight. But I will finish up the heatsink. The heatsink will be done. Okay, but there'll still need some trimming done. So I'm gonna go have a beer right now. This is one of my favorite beers. This Orion beer from Okinawa, Japan. Okay. So I will not be driving at all tonight. I won't be getting my van to hook the bike up on the trailer. So, but all right. So we just finished this. So I had to actually get a file and file the last one because I could not get a tool in there. I guess I could have tried to get one of these ball tools here. One of these guys. And I could have stuck it in there. That might have worked. But like, yeah, that's okay. You know, take my sweet time with the file. So there it is. And of course we ran out of daylight. You can see there's still some. This side is not as critical, I'll tell you that. The other side has to be flat as much as possible. So there it is. I went and cleaned the burrs off of this side. It wasn't too bad. And I went and resurfaced it one more time with the Scotch-Brite disc, so it is as clean as it's gonna get. So we're gonna go do a test mounting with the other part. And then if everything all mates up, we'll grease it up and stick them together, and that's it. They'll be permanently attached to each other. I will not be taking it apart anymore, unless, ooh, you know what? No, okay, we're gonna put it on the bike, and we're gonna see if it actually fits on the bike. Okay, so that'll be the last part of tonight's video. All right, here's my guy. I'm gonna go bolt the other piece on now. Okay, so I've got the screws in there. I think the best thing to do is just put the screws in first. So the front part of the heatsink, I'm going to put the screws so it looks prettier. And then the nuts will be on the other side. So there they are on the other side. So hopefully the other part mates up. I kind of looked at it and it looked all right. So, but we'll see for sure now. All right. Well, bam! There you go. It's there. Haha! It looks good, man. That's just exactly how I envisioned it would be. Okay, so this part's going to hook up to the controller, and then this is a secondary heatsink right here. Okay. Cool. I like it, man. It turned out really good. The screws are just the right length. Hopefully they're touching the nylon parts on the nuts. Well, I know. I'm wondering if I should use some longer screws. It won't hurt to use longer screws, because like they won't really affect anything. But when it's okay now, we can just crank them down a little bit, but when we put the thermal paste, it's going to take up more space. So yeah. So you can see how flat this heatsink is. It's actually bowing a little bit right here. So I think I might have damaged it when I was grinding it or something. But yeah. So there it is, man. It's done. So all we got to do now is put the last thing to do to finish this heatsink part here, besides trimming it later, is we need to add this stuff, the thermal grease to it. Heatsink, silicone heatsink compound. You're gonna just slather that on both sides and then stick it on there, and then it'll never come off. So that is the last goal for tonight. But for now, before we bolt this, before I put that grease on. Because once I put the grease on, I'm not taking these apart again. So I'm going to mount it on the controller. So I'm going to go ahead and mount it on the controller right now, and we'll see how well this mounts up. But I'm pretty happy with it. It looks good. All right. Sometimes I impress myself. All right. Here's me out.